In reality, to sum up, the studio made me listen to myself, right? And by listening to myself, I started to have which is a horrible thing when you really hear how you play, right? Or how you sound. In the studio, there's no lying. You're playing with the band in the studio there. A lot of things come through now. You're in a studio listening to yourself without thinking about playing or wanting to hear yourself play, and you really see who you are.
There's not even that thing. Sometimes, for example, you did a show, a bunch of instrumental music, filmed it with a cell phone, and you say, wow, man, it turned out cool. Then soon after, you listen to the sound that went through the mixer and you say, wow, man, it's bad. Because in the chaos there, everyone together,
And there's the ambiance of the place.
it hides a lot of little things, right?
Yes, yes. Then you understand where to place the microphone on the speaker. Closer to the center, it gets sharper. Closer to the edge, it gets deeper. You start to understand the microphone's distance. And in reality, all of this is very related to your goal. So you kind of organize the sound in your head. You say, man, I need to have a good clean sound, a good light distortion, a good heavy distortion, and a good fuzz sound, which I like. And then you start hearing the producers of the records you're recording giving you some tips, saying, no, no, man, I want that sound more like Paul Jackson Jr. Then well, I know Paul Jackson Jr. I listen to Paul, so you go after that reference. I want to sound kind of like Hendrix. I want a more Van Halen sound. I want a more Steve Luke, Eternal music and such. And then you start to pick up on that, kind of make a sampler of where you want to get to. But it's an incredible experience, this thing.
But when did this come about for you? Switch flipped a long time ago.
It's been a long time because I started recording very early, right? And then I was always curious, never wanted to be inconvenient. So we're going to have a recording, can't bring an amp, so you have to use the amp that's there. Then I already wanted to start messing with this line thing from the more rustic simulators from the Sense amp, because it was something you plugged in and the sound came out clean. I already found that interesting, but it wasn't the Sense amp was already very good, but when the little red pod appeared, it tidied things up a bit. I still think it's good today.
I still have it today.
I used the first 2.0 a lot, that little bean-shaped one. Man, I recorded a lot of albums with it. And I think if I had one today, I would manage just fine, because it was already good. Listen to albums recorded, think sound good.
I think the only thing it doesn't have that's cool is the drive. Illegal is drive. Right.
And actually,
Do you like it?
I used to get it like this. I had some amps that I could get a sound from, I liked it. I recorded a lot with everything.
But you're talking about selecting an amp that already distorts and not a little drive stomp box. No, an amp that already distorts. I think its little drive stomp box isn't cool.
It was rustic, right?
I think it's very digital. You can really feel that it's digital.
But I liked it, and actually, things keep improving, and you keep improving until I reached my great partnership with Bosa, and there, it really opened up to a much broader universe.
And today, are you using the Boss?
I still use the Boss today. Actually, today I've never stopped using the Boss since I started. It went from the GT5 to the GT8. With the GT8, thanks to Pepeo, actually to Sergio Mota, okay, Mota went to the show, saw me using it and said, hey, call me on Monday, let's chat and stuff. Then I became a partner with Boss there. Then GT10, VG99, GT100, GT1, GT100 and GT1, 12 to 13 years using them. HU and JT100, GT1, 12, 13 years using them. JT100 used for 12, 13 years. In line, directly. Then the GT1000 came in, the GT1000, GT1000 Core, the Katanas, which are the amps we just launched, the third generation of, in reality. But like this, I always used everything and always went according to the needs. I used the Kemper at the same time.
It's because the Kemper does a capture, Boss doesn't, right? It's just simulation, right?
Just simulation. But with the latest ones, you can already include the impulse response of the cabinets, right? It's not a capture. They are their amp models, but you can add the impulse response. The Kemper, for me, I started using it during the time of The Voice.
It's a one-way street, right?
It's a one-way street. The Kemper, for me, it's kind of a strange thing, I made a profile of my Bogner, and at a high volume, I get feedback in the headphones like that. It's kind of unbelievable. The Kemper, for me, is still Despite having several good things, I still think the Kemper is the best, for profiling, for capturing the sound of amps. And I know how to work with the Kemper, so I think that helps too. Maybe if I try others, maybe I'll get. I'm now also using the Tonex. It's amazing. The Tonex is something you can't believe that the tone, such a tiny thing, has so much firepower and the sound is so good. The Tonex is incredible.
It's just amps too, right?
Amp
And it's capture too.
and its capture. I'm now using the Kemper, the Tonex, and Boss products. That's what I've been using the most,
Have you ever checked out the Fractal Quad Cortex? Already!
I've recorded with the Fractal, but I've never owned one, right? I see.
So I've never tinkered with it. I think the big issue with the Fractal, everyone says it has a huge sound, but it feels like you're at NASA, right? That's what Kiko says, right?
But the Kemper is like that too. The Kemper, I even think when you look at it for the first time, you say, man, how am I going to handle this?
It's not intuitive.
The Kemper, once you get used to it, becomes intuitive. Because the very design of the Kemper is already quite elucidative, You have certain effects already in place. The controls are like those of a real amplifier. So it's easy. Once you understand it, it's easy.
But I think there are some, I don't know if boys is like that. But for example, I'm looking to buy one of these, and I'm a guy who, in terms of technology, I'm kind of limited, I have some blockages, right? So I like those that I find very didactic, little pedal, big pedal. I like it, drag it out, touch the little foot. The little foot appears,
Yes, but there are several now with this touch thing, right? That you do on the. Like, you look at the screen and adjust. It's amazing, right? Bose and Kemper aren't like that specifically, but you have, if I'm not mistaken, the Quad is like that. The Quad is like that.
One that is very good is the 11 rack, which actually, Headrush was the first to introduce the touch screen when this new wave of pedal boards came.
It was Mitch. And the funny thing is, I had an 11 rack for many years. I liked it so much that when I got the Kemper, I profiled the 11, my 11 presets. I still have them there and I use them.
The plugins you're talking about?
No, the 11 rack.
I once had an 11 plugin.
So it's the same. It's the same, except the 11 rack is a hardware that already has everything natively. That little orange one. Little orange one. In fact, I think if I find one, I'll buy it again because I like it so much. It's really good. It was the first, I think, high-end cool simulator. And when they launched the Headrush, it was the first touch that is also in this scheme. It's a great sound. Any 11 Headrush I pick it up, and I'm already at home like that.
And it's a powerhouse with an average price of about 4K.
Yeah. The Gig Boy, if I'm not mistaken, is 5,000, I think.
Yeah, because we're talking about Brazil, right? 4,000 and something here.
Overseas. It's very cheap. But it works really well, man. Whole sound I recorded a lot. And I even miss it a little, to be honest, because I was so familiar with it that I really separate, Mateus, things for live performance and things for recording, So I have a Boss pedal board, which is the BCB, the traditional one. And then I have a GT1000 core, which is the small GT1000. I have a DM101, which is a delay they released. And we did the launch of this delay here. And I have down some pedals that I don't change, which are my OCD, a fuzz, a compressor, my octave fuzz from Anig, the blues driver from Boss. So it's a pedal board I kind of made for live performances, which also works in line. But I like to have something very dedicated in the studio. The Kemper is stored there. The Tonex is in a place where I can just arrive, plug in, and I'm already...
Yes, 0 amps at home.
0 amps at home. For many years.
Yeah. It's a one-way street, man. I think that those who work a lot, and especially those who are accompanying the artist, won't have the option not to use something with a simulator or capture.
Yes, speaking. Wait. I have some videos on YouTube, right? By the way, we're revamping the YouTube channel. Chris Caruso and I. We're really renewing this part of mine now that I have a bit more time. I can go back to being a bit of a guitarist, which is really nice. But what's interesting, actually, I even forgot what I was talking about, man.
No, you were saying that I mentioned the following, those who are following the artist, There's no turning back in terms of choosing or not.
Because when you get to the show, there's no amplifier. Sometimes the amplifier is bad. I've taken a Twin Zero out of the box and it was bad. Couldn't use it. I've arrived at the place to play, brought my little GT1. I said, I'll take my GT1 because I don't know what amp will be there. The guy said, there's a twin. I said, what if there's no twin? So I took my OCD. My blues drive and my OCD, I only took those two and the GT1 as a backup. I got there and it was a Fender Performer 1000. No, it was a Fender Frontman. The Performer 1000 was good.
Frontman what?
It was the most powerful one, 100, I think. But man, the Frontman is a horrible amp.
I have a small one at home.
It's really bad from the first to the most powerful one.
It's transistor, right?
No, but Fender has some good transistor amps.
This isn't one of them.
I had the Rock Pro 1000. Rock Pro 1000 was wonderful. I had a deluxe. I had several Fender transistor amps that were very good. Man, this line is terrible.
It tends to be treble heavy, right?
It's a sound that feels like you're plugging into a low-quality digital pedal board, you know?
Yeah, and it has a thin sound. Hard to get anybody there.
Very ugly, very ugly. And then I got there. When I saw that amp, I already put my hand on my head. The guy had taken it out of the box. All proud, right? Man, I bought a Fender, a twin. I said, dude, the guy didn't even realize it's not a twin. Someone told him it's just like a twin. Then the guy bought it. I even felt sorry for the owner who was in the Northeast. Then I said, man, no, I can use it, okay, but I'm going to use my pedal board. In line with a new amp like this, a big Fender like this, you're going to use your pedal board in line? Then I said, no, man, it's because I'm already used to it. I have my own way and all. And the guy's sound system was really good. So I connected Chateau D, asked for a direct box, plugged in my OCD, connected my GT1 and all. Man, when it was plugged in and played, the guy was like, man, what a great sound, dude. I said, no, this little pedal board is really good. Even though it's very cheap, it's a wonderful pedal board.
Which pedal board was that?
The Boss GT1. This is one that, for me, is still a daily discovery because it's a very cheap pedal board made of plastic by Boss that has a sound I can get anywhere, whether it's direct or through an amp. There's something about this pedal board that worked out really well.
It has the same module as the GT100, which was a pedal board I used for many years. It was a pedal board that, when Boss launched it, had very interesting features compared to for example, the GT10. Yes. It must be about 1,500 years old. I think the GT100 came to compete with the HD line from line 6. And, well, for me, it was very much on par in terms of quality, being very robust as well.
I think the GT100 had something like this. I switched when the GT1000 came out. I switched for another GT100. I was so used to it, and I am so used to it that if under any circumstances I need to go to a recording and take a GT100, I'm all set. Is it because the GT1 is old, 15, 20 years already? No, it is because I used it from the launch of the GT100 until...
No.
Yes, it is.
The GT1, no.
Because I came from the launch of the GT100 until... Because I came from the launch of the GT100 until the GT1, no. Until I switched to the GT1000, I mean, I was using the GT1 last year until my core started working right. It's more, I think it's about 15 years like that. And so the GT100 is also one that I have a tremendous skill with. Like, if I pick up any unprogrammed one in 2 seconds, 2016 that it is.
Raphael, been 8 years, GT1.
The GT100 was launched. I don't remember.
The GT100 must be a little older.
It's a bit older, I think. I know that these pedals, for me, they are timeless, like that.
Okay, no.
The other day, I found a GT5. A friend of mine showed me a brand new GT5.
Did you see?
It's around that time. Since I started using it in 2012, I never stopped using the GT100. Actually, some broke by accident. They never malfunctioned. A Marshall head fell on one. It was windy, broke the display and all. It was a horrible thing. I plugged it in and it was working, just not functioning. I used it, did the New Year's Eve show, then Fabinho gave me a new one.
But that's the Boss standard of construction. It could be a nuclear attack and the pedal would still work.
It's no wonder that, like the Boss pedal, the compact pedals, anything from Boss for me, I'm using the Katana without the since the Generation 2 was launched. I used it for a year on TV, did all the shows I could. Wow, an incredible amplifier. And it's transistor, right? Transistor. I love it. It's really very good. And now we've launched Generation 3. And now it has impulse response. It already has something more. But I still think 100 is wonderful. I also get used to equipment, and then I think as time goes by, I get bothered by not changing. I don't really have this thing of, oh no, a new one came out. I already have. Torquato is like that. When a new one comes out, he already knows everything. Obsessed. He's obsessed. He gets it. He already knows how to use it. He already knows what's good, anything I need. Torquato, what did you think of such and such pedal board?
When it's something new and you want to know if it's good, he's the first person you call.
Yeah, ask Torquato. And even before the brand launches, I think Torquato already has insider information. Because when it comes out, he already knows everything.
It's impressive.